Allison Langer.
I'm Andrea Askowitz, and this is Writing Class Radio. You'll hear true personal stories and learn how to write your own stories. Together, we produce this podcast, which is equal parts heart and art. By heart, we mean the truth in a story. By art, we mean the craft of writing. No matter what's going on in our lives, Writing Class is where we tell the truth. It's where we work out our shit. There's no place in the world like Writing Class, and we want to bring you in. You know what? This is our 202nd episode. I just want to mention that because that's 202 episodes, and we didn't mention it at 200. 202.
Yeah, it's sick. We bad. Today on our show, we're going to bring you a story actually told at the live, like the last episode, at the Flagstaff Festival of Science this past September 2024. We mentioned all this last episode, but if you're just tuning in, we're just going to bore you really quickly. It's our second year collaborating with the Center for Ecosystem Science and Society. God, that's easy to say. Center
well
for Ecosystem, right? Ecosystem Science and Society. That's why they call it ECOSS, so they don't have to do that. And they are located at Northern Arizona University. And I don't know, I freaking love Flagstaff, but even more, I love this place. We've walked around the university. The kids are awesome. The professors are amazing. Everyone's smart as hell. It's cool. So if you haven't checked out that school, you should. And we love this gig more than anything because we get to hang out with young people and smart people. You know what they say about the company you keep?
Soon we're going to be young and smart.
Anyway, but these people are doing really important stuff. And I think as I've gotten older, and I know this is true for you as well, I'm kind of bored by the mundane. Like I really want to do something in this world
that matters.
Right. It's not about legacy. It's about like, before I check out of here, I'd like to see a little bit of change for the good or the way I would like to see change. And I know you feel the same way. So these guys are doing that and we stand behind them. So we support everything they do. And the truth of the matter is people believe you when they hear your story and you're vulnerable. So if we trust one scientist at a time based on their stories, maybe we will actually believe that plastic is screwing up our world, or maybe we cut back, we walk to work, we take a bike, like whatever it is, just to do our part in this world. So hopefully these stories and messages will also inspire you. They inspire us a lot. If you've never heard of ECOSS and heard us brag up the professors that are making this happen, basically that got in touch with us, Dr. Jane Marks and her husband, Dr. Bruce Hungate, basically run that place over there. And they're probably going to be like, why'd you say that? You're going to get us in trouble. But it's true. And everyone knows it. They're famous and they're doing amazing stuff at Northern Arizona University in the ECOSS department. And they heard our podcast and started taking our classes online. Then they came to some of our retreats and their writing and their stories got better and better and better. And they said, okay, you guys have to come out here and do this with our students, because in order for us to be effective scientists and actually make a change, we need to enforce that with the next generation and the people we're teaching. So that's what we do.
Today's story is by Emma Lathrop. So on this episode, we're talking about learning something about ourselves that we might not have loved about ourselves before, but we now appreciate. And then in that, learning a little bit about science. Well, that's what happened to me.
I love that.
We'll be back with Emma's story after the break. We're back. I'm Andrea Askowitz, and you're listening to Writing Class Radio. Here's Emma Lathrop reading her story live at the Flagstaff Festival of Science. Her story is called When Anxiety is a Superpower.
I am sitting nervously in a helicopter hovering over the tundra outside Nome, Alaska. This morning, on my commute to our field site, I enjoyed an airborne tour of rolling snow-covered hills and mountains of the Seward Peninsula. But now, when I look down, all I see is fog. It is March, there is 6 feet of snow on the ground, but it is also hot out, 45 degrees. The heat and lack of sea ice this year has caused a lot of evaporation, and there's a thick fog forming. When I flew in on a plane from Anchorage earlier that week, the fog was so thick that the plane tried to land 3 times before the pilot gave up and said, "We'll try again tomorrow." In the helicopter, our pilot's conversation with the airport crackles through my headset. OME reporting quarter-mile visibility, they say. We can't land here, the pilot tells us. And he points to a house in the distance, in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by snow. I'm taking you there, he says. My coworker and I don't know anyone who lives here, and we post hole through 6 feet of snow up to this door. By FAA rules, visibility was too low to land at the airport. So for safety purposes, we've been dropped in a field near a stranger's house, and we were told to ask them for a ride back to town. Our pilot will pick us up tomorrow morning, the FAA none the wiser. My coworker and I are here on the tundra to measure snow accumulation to understand how this critical process is changing in our warmer world. My career as an Arctic scientist might make you think that I'm adventurous or brave, but I'm actually a really anxious person. Growing up, I was always afraid of things. My cousins were risk takers, and I wanted so badly to keep up with them on roller coasters or jumps into the lake or even holding sparklers on the 4th of July, but my anxiety always stopped me. In high school, I hated when other people drove. I had a bad habit of backseat driving, and when I wasn't in control, I would start to spiral. I'd think about the red asphalt movies that they showed us in driver's ed, and I would imagine. In college, I was annoying and naggy. I was always convinced that the cops were coming to break up a party, that someone's Tinder match would end in a kidnapping, or that while hiking, we were going to get struck by lightning, attacked by a bear, break a leg, run out of food. And instead of keeping those thoughts to myself, I made sure to tell everybody around me about my worries and try to convince them to leave the party, not go on the date, turn around on the hike to go back to safety. We're told to follow our gut, but my gut always tells me that something is going to go wrong. I tried to fight my anxiety because I knew it drove people away. In many ways, this self-loathing brought me to the Alaskan tundra, where an adventurous career would surely prove that I was chill. I also care about climate change, which gives me anxiety. On the second day of this snow monitoring trip, I'm peeling off my coat because it is hot again. The air is humid. Somehow there is a goddamn mosquito buzzing, and I smack it against my arm. I have a hard time concentrating on my work, and I don't want to repeat yesterday's landing. What if the fog gets worse? I think about how easily helicopters can lose orientation in the fog. Finally, I can't resist. I radio to our field leader. Hey guys, it looks like the fog is getting pretty thick. Should we leave? Let's just try for one more plot, they say. I know they're worried we won't be able to collect all the data we need if we keep leaving the field early. In the next 5 minutes, visibility worsens fast. I really think we should leave now, I radio again. There's silence on the other end. A few minutes later, our pilot radios that he's already on his way. By the time we lift off, the fog is pooling in the space where we were just standing. As we fly towards Nome, only the tops of mountains are visible. We can't land at the airport, and the valley where we landed yesterday is already covered with fog. We can't land there either. I'm used to anticipating the worst, and this is the worst. But I feel different than I usually do when I'm cycling through my anxious thoughts. I'm weirdly calm. Despite my fear, I am really good in emergency situations. Maybe it's because I practice them so much in my head. Our pilot scouts for a relatively flat peak with no fog, and that's where he drops us. My coworkers and I are giddy to be on safe and solid ground, and we're left with a beautiful, serene view. But soon, our peak is swallowed up by fog too. I can't see 5 feet away from me. We're 12 miles from Nome. Let's get walking, I say. I think about how many moose I saw from the helicopter that morning and how Alaskans I know are more afraid of moose than bears. It's getting cold and dark from the fog, and I question whether or not I brought enough food. But walking is our way to safety. Despite the chaos and the unknown, I am calm and decisive, and I help get us down this mountain. Half an hour later, we reach a road, and out of nowhere, snowmobiles roar up next to us, scientists leaving a different site. Need a ride back to town, they ask. We climb on the back of these snowmobiles. I wrap my arms around the driver, a complete stranger to me, and I hold on tight. As we glide over the snow back to town, I think about how today, this time, we should have followed my intuition. This part of me that I had worked so hard to change, to fix about myself, to turn off, Today, this part had been right. I feel a moment of gratitude for this thing that I had always felt was a flaw. My anxiety used to stop me from doing things like this. I don't want my fear to prevent me from having adventures. I don't want my anxiety to drive people away. I know from experience that things will probably turn out okay, but that doesn't mean I'll ever stop worrying about my safety and the safety of the people I care about. Back in town, we are adrenaline fueled and we trade stories from the day. Someone says, "It just came in so fast. No one even had time to notice." I say, "I actually did notice, and I said something." "Okay, tomorrow," someone says, "we listen to Emma." Thank you.
God, I'm smiling the whole time with this story. I love it.
I
love it. I so identify. I know we're not supposed to talk about our own selves, but I do. But wait, this is what I think is so cool. Like, this story is mostly about her anxiety, but we are placed in this science situation. And I learned that heat causes fog. I didn't know that. You know, like, it was so hot, 45 degrees, which was funny.
But here in Miami, the heat combined with the vapor, like something like that, the humidity is also causing fog, which is kind of cool. Have you been noticing the fog around here and on the West Coast?
No.
Okay, so that's off the subject. But yes, okay, so you learned that. Yeah, I know. It's very cool.
But I was just in it because I was so invested in what she was learning and telling us about herself.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Alaskans are more afraid of moose. I kind of learned it by just context, but they post hold 6 feet. Like, that must mean that they're like, so that they know how deep it is and then step.
Well, you know how when you're stepping, you're post holing like in snow, and you're post holing like however many steps. So that's how I knew it.
But do you use an actual post?
No, but it's an estimate. It's like waves, you know, like if you're like, oh, the waves are between 6 and 8. But
they were using an actual post.
I'm sure, because they're scientists. They're not like some hojo tromping through the snow.
They're not Allison tromping through the snow.
Exactly.
Post holing.
But we're just trying to explain that we actually are smart enough to understand these graduate students. That's what we're trying to do.
I learned a thing or two. That's all I'm saying.
We're kind of smart enough. Maybe not.
There's two things. Like, I'm always impressed by the specifics of the details. And when she's like, and I thought that she delivered this really well too. So this was told live. So performance matters. But she was like, she listed really quickly, like getting attacked by a bear, run out of food. And there was something else. And it like sped up. And that just was so well done. And it showed her anxiety and what her mind was doing. And I just loved how she delivered that.
Yeah. I think by telling those details, we really, really believe her, because she's willing to like get nitty gritty. So that you were saying something else she was saying, like about, I don't even just facts, scientific facts. We just believe her because she's believable. You know what I mean?
Right. Because she's not being vague. She's being very, very specific.
Right.
Yeah. I'm thinking that I should become an Arctic scientist, because when she says she's an Arctic scientist, she's like, that might make you think I'm brave, but no.
Yeah.
So it's probably a good job for me, right?
I thought it was a great setup because we know what she's about to tell us. And then she tells us. She shows so well how, like, all the details, like you said, and that she's showing us by dropping us into a scene, which we are always asking for. And those are the things we remember.
She actually starts with the scene. She's sitting in the helicopter and she's enjoying this tour, and all she sees is fog.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happens again where she's in the helicopter the next day and they can't even land in that random spot. So then they end up landing. Scary.
But isn't it funny that she chose a job or a career in something that still gives her anxiety?
Yeah. And this is one of my favorite lines. I care about climate change, which gives me anxiety.
Loved it.
Oh, I'm used to anticipating the worst. And this was the worst. It was so foggy, so scary.
Yeah.
Good.
There was a lot of tension. We're not sure what's going to happen. She's setting us up for like real shit. And then those guys come along and pick them up and they luck out. And isn't that true? Like near misses. How many can you recount in your own life?
She does have this sense that things will probably work out. She says that at the end. But yeah, in this case, it did.
Well, what my favorite part of the whole thing was what she comes to, right? Is that she's grateful because this flaw is actually can save lives and help her. And it's there for a reason. Now, I just loved that message.
100% loved it.
Okay, I love Emma so much. This is the second time she's been on the show that we've actually gotten to spend time with her in the class for the students at NAU, and we've really gotten to know her. And she let me just say that the girl flew in the night before from Europe and actually still managed to
nail it on stage.
Not only that, but she fulfilled a commitment. I really admire that. She could have just been like, I'm out. No, she showed up. She did this. She got out there. She enjoyed it. She was so good at it.
She has stories to tell.
I'm just so grateful. Yeah, she's amazing. So thank you, Emma Lathrop, for sharing your story with us, with the scientists, with the world. They're really important. Emma is also in the PhD program at NAU. She studies permafrost, carbon cycles, and soil. If you love her story, and I'm sure you did, you can hear Emma's last story on episode 182. That story was awesome too. And we'll link to it in our show notes. And this would not be possible without Jane Marks and Bruce Hungate and the McAllister Program in Community Culture and the Environment at Northern Arizona University and the staff at ECOSS. Writing Class Radio is hosted by me, Allison Langer.
And me, Andrea Askowitz.
Audio production is by Matt Kundle, Evan Serminski, and Aidan Glassy at the Sound Off Media Company. Theme music is by Justina Chandler. There's more writing class on our website, including stories we study, editing resources, video classes, writing retreats, and live online classes. If you want to write with us every week, or if you're a business owner, a community activist, a group that needs healing, an entrepreneur, a scientist, or you just want your team to write better, check out all the classes we offer on our website, writingclassradio.com. Join the community that comes together for instruction and an excuse to write and the support from other writers. To learn more, check out patreon.com/writingclassradio. A new episode will drop the first Wednesday of every month.
There's no better way to understand ourselves and each other than by writing and sharing our stories. Everyone has a story. What's yours?
Produced and distributed by the Sound Off Media Company.